now for a quick of our Torah. This we're starting Parsha Truma. We've gone through uh, getting the Ten Commandments at Mount Sinai. We've gone through the social legislation, as it were, in Mishpatim, where we're told of how to set up a society that'll be a just society. Now we're getting into building the tabernacle to have our korbanot, our offerings. And the first thing is, God says that you should donate. And by the way, this is not, nobody's required. This is all voluntary offerings. Everybody give what they can. And the interesting thing is, it gets to the point that Moses has to tell the Jews, stop donating. We have more than enough. I'm going to have to return some of this stuff.
The only time in Jewish history.
Only time in Jewish history that that people asking for donations had to say stop. I know, but that's a separate issue. The point is, but it is a trait. I remember back in the early '90s, there was Operation Solomon, which the last of the Ethiopian Jews were brought to Israel. And the government put out that they needed thick clothes, they needed, clothes, etc., everything for these people because they were coming in literally with the clothes on their back. They had torn the seats out of El Al planes so they could fit in. Like on a 747, they had about 1,000 people on it. Not very, I don't think it would have passed among certain inspectors in the United States, but Israel said this is what we have to do to save these people, save these Jews, get them out of Ethiopia. And they asked the public, they said these people need clothes and etc., all these things. They said that on a Sunday. And on Monday, they had to say, stop donating. There was more than enough for these people. Uh, so it does happen because, that this is an important thing that people, if given the opportunity, you should try to donate. And the important thing about why we have to donate, say, to the building of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, is a very important issue here that sometimes is lost on people. You donate because you're part of a community. You help the community. It's not only just to come in and pray in a place and take advantage. You have to give something to the community, something physical. That this is why synagogues ask for to become members. Why? Because when you're a member, you're helping the community. You're helping the synagogue function. Next Sunday, next week, is the annual dinner for this synagogue. And it's a very important fundraiser because a lot of the operating budget of this synagogue comes from that dinner. And people have to be aware of it. There was a certain person who used to come here, never joined the synagogue, would complain about this, would complain about that. So I once said to her, well, bring it up at the next general membership meeting. She said, I'm not a member. I said, that's the problem. You're not a member. If you want to complain, you should be a member. And that's one of the things that God is saying. We're building this tabernacle. That's for me, I know, so that I can dwell among you. Not that I'll dwell in the tabernacle, but to build it means a lot of physical stuff. You have to donate. And therefore, if you want to be part of the community, you have to be part of the community. Remember a little side note that even a person who's living on charity, his entire income is charity. He has to give 1/10 of his income to the community, even though the community is supporting him, because he has to show that he's a member of the community. So what this parsha, beginning of this parsha, comes down to tell us is If you want to be a member of the community, show it by action, not just by words. Something to think about.